Once upon a time, in a quaint little village surrounded by lush green fields and gentle hills, there lived a beggar named Madhav. Madhav's life revolved around asking for alms. Every morning, he would walk through the dusty streets of the village, visiting its different corners, relying on the generosity of others to survive. The villagers knew him well and often gave him whatever they could spare, a handful of grains, a few coins, or a piece of bread. Madhav had a peculiar habit. He always carried a small, tattered pouch wherever he went. Inside, he kept a few grains he had collected. Over the years, Madhav had realized something. When people saw a beggar's pouch empty, they hesitated to give. But if they saw something inside, they were more willing to offer more. It was his clever trick to ensure his survival. One morning, as the sun rose and bathed the village in golden light, Madhav felt something unusual in the air. Couldn't shake off the feeling that this day was different, though he couldn't say why. With his pouch in hand, he set off as usual, but his heart beat a little faster. As he reached the main road of the village, the ground beneath him began to tremble. In the distance, a magnificent golden chariot appeared, gleaming under the morning sun. The chariot was adorned with intricate carvings, and its wheels sparkled like jewels. Madhav's eyes widened in awe. "It's the king," he thought, his mind racing. "If the king notices me and gives me something, my entire life could change." He quickly moved to the side of the road, clutching his pouch tightly, and waited with bated breath as the chariot approached. To his astonishment, the chariot came to a halt right in front of him. Madhav's heart nearly stopped when the king himself stepped out of the chariot. The king was tall and regal, dressed in fine silks and adorned with golden ornaments. His presence commanded respect, yet his expression was soft and kind. As the king walked toward him, Madhav's thoughts went wild. "This is it. The king will surely give me gold or something even more valuable. My days of begging are over." But what happened next left Madhav utterly speechless. The king, with a humble expression, extended his own pouch and said, "Kind sir, would you grant me some alms?" Madhav stared at the king, his mouth agape. "The king is asking me for alms? This must be a joke." But the king's serious eyes told him otherwise. The king continued, "Our kingdom is facing a dire crisis. The royal astrologer has foretold that to overcome this calamity, I must ask for alms from the first person I meet today. And you, my friend, are that person. Please, show mercy and give me something." Madhav was overwhelmed with confusion and doubt. "What can I possibly give the king? I'm just a poor beggar," he thought, clutching his pouch tighter. "If I give him something, I'll have even less for myself." After much internal struggle, he finally reached into his pouch and pulled out a single grain. Reluctantly, he dropped it into the king's pouch. The king smiled warmly, bowed slightly in gratitude, and without another word, turned and walked back to his chariot. The villagers, who had gathered around, watched in stunned silence as the chariot rolled away into the horizon. But Madhav's heart was heavy with regret. "All he asked for was a little alms, and I gave him a single grain," he thought angrily. "The king is so wealthy. He could have given me something valuable. Instead, I let my fear and greed hold me back." The day went on, and Madhav continued begging. Surprisingly, he received an abundance of alms that day, more than ever before. Yet, he couldn't shake off the unease in his heart. That evening, as he sat in his small hut, his wife cheerfully remarked, "Madhav, you've become famous today. Everyone is talking about how the king himself begged from you. You're a great man." But Madhav didn't feel great. In frustration, he grabbed his pouch and threw it on the ground. The grains scattered across the floor. Then, something extraordinary happened. Among the grains on the floor, one shone brightly. Madhav bent down and picked it up. It was the same grain he had given the king, now transformed into solid gold. Tears welled up in his eyes as he stared at the golden grain. His hands trembled as he thought, if just one grain turned into gold, What would have happened if I had given more? Overwhelmed with regret, he sat on the ground and wept bitterly. I let my greed and fear rob me of a golden opportunity. He thought. Teach lesson was clear. In life, opportunities often come disguised as sacrifices. Madhav's selfishness had cost him a greater reward. He realized that true generosity requires letting go of fear and giving with an open heart. From that day on, Madhav lived by this principle. When life offers you a chance to give, do so selflessly.